How about now? Mute button. How about now, Jordan? Oh my God. What is wrong with you, Nelson? Just pay attention to things. You know, when you're trying to get something, done. Yeah, when you're trying to get something done, and you're trying to get it done in a hurry, 9 times out of 10 it screws up. So anyway, sorry about 906, and then the sorry about 907 because I had the mute button on. So it is Wall Pass Wednesday, and we got a lot of stuff on the board. It is the last day here at Topsail. After the show, we have a couple of things to do, and then we're heading back, and then it's back in the studio for Thursday, Friday. Then we fly to Arkansas for the Marshall Islands. Last day of the Outrigger Challenge Cup. We'll have a lot of stuff from there on Saturday and Sunday and beyond. There's going to be a lot of different pieces that are going to be out on a bunch of different. Let's see. So Topsail Beach, North Carolina, or are you specifically meaning down in the basement of the house with the water heater? I mean, I'm in like the workout room, which is doubling as my studio space because it's kind of sealed off when it comes to acoustics. But yes, that is a hot water heater. Topsail Beach, North Carolina. Some friends of ours invited us out. The boss came out a couple days early. I joined them flying into Jacksonville, North Carolina Monday, and spent 36 hours here before everything gets to kick back in with high school football and soccer across all classifications. Yeah, Topsail. Yeah, near Wilmington. I'm literally, if I was to go to the middle floor of this house, I could see water moving. So it's it's probably a good driver from here to the water, but I can see it. There are houses that are buffeting the winds and things, strategically placed very well by our friends. And so literally out of the kitchen and the dining room, I can literally look out and I could take out my driver. And if I hit it straight, it goes right into the water. And so we're leaving early afternoon, coming back to Atlanta. Everything returns to normal tomorrow. Today, Tyler Pilgrim joining us from SNS. I don't know if he's going to be inside or outside. We'll find it out. Let's see if the busiest man in the Northeast can join us, Dylan Butler. And with Dylan, it is school getting started. And so it will be interesting, and it will be interesting to find out what's going on in Dylan's world and find out what's going on with Major League Soccer. We do have an update. Jose Silva on this morning, the head coach of Atlanta United 2. Early word. Twos are training with the first team, and so they're going to end later. Morning local. So we will put Jose in kind of the maybe space since they're training with the first team this morning. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go. Okay, so we've got stuff to talk about, and it is all across the board. So it is a lot of Major League Soccer stuff as we get close to the end of the window. When Tyler joins us, obviously, we're going to talk about what's going on with Atlanta United and the matchup in Montreal, getting ready for the matchup in Colorado, and all of those things. So last night, I don't know if you set your notifications for that kind of stuff, but we do have some interesting transaction-y kind of things to keep an eye on in Charlotte and Fort Lauderdale. We'll discuss that, and we'll discuss kind of how things are across the board. In the final half hour, it's a bunch of transfer news. It's a bunch of news getting you caught up on everything. We do have Libertadores, Sudamericana. We've got to get into that, all those scores, all of the stuff. So it's the table is going to be set. Atlanta United, Major League Soccer, news and notes, reports, things. Dylan comes in. We go a little bigger picture with the transactions that have been made, Thomas Müller, et cetera. And since it's been a while since he has been with us. And then transfers, news, overseas, all the other things to get us to 11:07 or so. So I can fulfill the 2 hours of John not muting himself obligation here on Wall Pass Wednesday. So thanks for hanging out with us as you always do. The boss actually mandated. You see me wearing a hat. I rarely wear hats on the show. And it's just because of lighting situations. You sit there and you wear a hat, and then the lighting bounces off of the bill, and you can't see my face, which to some folks might actually be a compliment. But considering where we are, last night we went out to dinner with our friends, and then there's this bar that we went to on the way home. And I guess technically this is opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And when you start your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, what we want you to do, we want you to actually, we want you to buy out the whole store. And you can do that, and you can do it at a 15% discount. You can do that by using the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it. Youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay. So I actually was told that I had to wear a hat and wear this hat from this particular establishment. I'm going to go ahead and bend my head down so you can see it in the camera. You see right there. Trailer bar, the trailer bar. Come on in. It just looks expensive. Okay. So the trailer bar is an establishment here in Topsail that literally is a bar that was created out of several double wides that were kind of pieced together. And they have actually expanded in recent years. So literally what you do is it is a double wide that has been put up on reinforcements about 4 feet. So you walk up, you go in, and literally it is the low ceiling, the whole bit. It is a double wide. And the double wide in and of itself has folks that have created artwork on each of the panels that are creating the ceiling, and you get to write your name on the bar, and you get to write your name on the paneling and all that kind of stuff. So because of the uniqueness of this institution here in Topsail, the boss basically said, I'm buying you this hat. You have to wear it on the air. And so when the boss says that you are wearing this on the air, you're wearing this on the air. So therefore, I'm fulfilling the boss's wishes by promoting the trailer bar here in Topsail and Topsail Beach. So that is what is on my head, the rare instance of me wearing a hat on the show this morning. So that's what this hat is all about. And it is, Ricky, it's Surf City, North Topsail or South Topsail. It is in the Surf City. I don't know if it's like Surf City, but it is like South Topsail, and it is all right in there. And so they're 15 years old. They've started marketing the T-shirts. They've got the whole thing. They've got the really cool T-shirts that all the wait staff have, but they were out of those. So the boss got an anniversary T-shirt, and she got me the hat. So that was part of the trail back from where we were eating last night. And so place we were eating at, it was High Marks, and it was, here's where you should eat. Here's where you do eat. And apparently there are a lot of different ice cream establishments here in the area. And it is one of those things where our friends are probably going to end up trying to figure out a way to market themselves to figure out who is the best original ice cream on Topsail or Surf City, Wilmington, what have you. So there are a lot of different independent institutions that create their own ice cream. We had last night, I had the folks that create like a Reese's ice cream. It's like Reese's Pieces and things like that inside of it. So highly recommended. I know that there is one of the larger establishments for corporations that actually does it, but this is homemade, and it was ridiculous to do homemade fudge, and so it's out of control. So that's the hat, that's the ice cream, that's Topsail, that's what we're doing. So that is opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, there's your QR code for those of you hanging out with us, however you're accessing us, large device or small. Hit the QR code, buy out Kickoff Coffee, use the code SoccerDownHere15 and get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it into youth games, youth initiatives, things that they think of as cool. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay. All right. So it is 9:16-ish. So that means that at this particular time on Wednesday, so he's indoors. He's indoors today. I'm guessing because it's like 9 gazillion% humidity or something like that, because that's what it is here. So I will consult with Tyler and find out what the deal is. So you, sir, are indoors. Is it as thick there as it is here in Topsail?
So are you.
I know.
You're in that's a water heater.
Yes.
Yes. Where are you?
I'm in Topsail Beach. for today. We were in. I did the show Monday in the studio. The boss came out here Saturday for vacation because this is our friend. We have some friends who basically live a good drive, and I mean, like, the number one would, by staring at the Atlantic Ocean. So literally, if I hit a driver between two homes, then I hit water.
Nice.
And so those two homes, one of them, get this. So one of the two homes is a 28-room fiasco.
Fiasco is a word.
Well, considering that they and you know how, and I know that you and I both have these issues when it comes to building casas and such, where you're building your house, and you sit there and you go, okay, I like my house as it is. Hey, you wake up one morning, I think I'll make an addition to the house. And so these folks who are down the left-hand side of this imaginative fairway, this imagined fairway of mine, so the left side of the fairway.
Yep.
They've decided, apparently, when they wake up on a Tuesday morning, they're just going to pick a style and add it to the house. I mean, literally, it looks like English parapets from the 15th century. It looks like, forts from the Civil War. It is 3 stories. It is as wide as you wouldn't believe. And they've come up with pick a design style, and we're just going to smash it on top. Literally, this is the Dagwood sandwich of homes.
Yeah, so it's like you wake up at that particular style of the day, and you say, I'm going to put that one on my house today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so
no matter what the previous 3 were.
Doesn't matter. Absolutely does not matter. And it is literally one of those things where you sit there and you go, I think I want it to look like I want it to look like, I don't know, where they had the Battle of the Monitor and the Merrimack in the Civil War. And literally, it's like you say the house is the foundation is the bottom piece of bread. Literally, they've gone inside the fridge and they're like, ooh, all the different luncheon meats. And you sit there, you don't know if you've ever done it before. And you just kind of sit there and you're pounding all these different luncheon meats on a sandwich. Oh, let's go A1 sauce. Oh, hey, mustard. Hey,
Yeah.
And then you take,
nice.
and literally, and you smash it all together. That's what this house looks like.
Awesome. You sure it doesn't need to get hit by a golf ball?
Well, I'm sure that it absolutely does. So that is literally this house that is off to the left. That is, if I was to slice my drive, it might, hit a couple of windows or something. I did not bring my golf clubs, so I cannot recommend that behavior.
You can still throw it, though.
Oh, well, true. But I don't want to waste the golf.
Tennis rackets are good as well. Baseball bats.
Yes, absolutely true. And so, I was mentioning an opening kickoff last night that the boss went to this particular location, and she said, you're going to wear this particular hat. And Jordan has already researched the trailer bar. And it literally is a double wide that has been converted into a drinking establishment.
That's awesome.
So it is literally pool table, bar, and dance floor. And it's about the height of a double wide, and it acts like it, except that there in the middle of it is the whole thing. There is a bar, and so so it is a trailer bar. And the boss mandated that I wear this hat since this is our last day here in Topsail before we head back. A couple of things I wanted to get into this morning. Ricky has one of those topics, and since we are in the Southeast, obviously, I did want to discuss the latest reports coming out of Charlotte, the latest reports coming out of Inter Miami, and let everybody know what's going on with Messi and friends as their swaps continue. But I did want to start, obviously, with Atlanta United and what happened. I think the 5th time, excellent promo, the 5th time this season where Atlanta United has gone from a position of 0 points to 1 point by the end of it all. Now that you've had a couple days to think about it, what's stuck in your head?
So there's a few things. We kind of touched on it on the show the other day, but I think you have to give credit where it's due. Alexei Miranchuk has been the guy. He apparently does have the clutch gene, or has found it, and is using it. Now, I do wish there were some things about his game that maybe were more consistent throughout the entire 90 minutes, and he does still have a lot of work to do to catch up for the past calendar year of kind of ups and downs. But right now he's your guy, plain and simple. And Latte Loth and Miguel Almiron both, they continue to not live up to the expectation at this point. And in the numbers category. Now, that's not to say, at least for Miggy, I mean, he is creating a chance, if you want to classify the actual word chance as a statistic, but like he is creating chances, he's creating opportunities, he's moving the ball. So there's definitely some saving grace there. Latte Loth, though, I mean, it's just not clicking for him right now. He gets, essentially not quite an open net, but pretty close to it, and still sends one wide. And it's just, for him, it feels like a bout of his own confidence.
Yeah, you feel like you're snake bit, and
Yeah.
you don't know, that is it to the point to where you're talking about live chickens and getting candlesticks,
Yeah,
that
100%.
that's kind of where you are.
Yeah. Especially coming up on October in a couple of months, like you might have to start pulling out some serious stuff to change things around a little bit. I don't know, but
They do have those stores that pop up in the mall for that 1 month.
yes, they do. So no, I mean, I think the DPs are definitely going to be one story, and they're going to be until they click. And one of the points that
Well, he's gone.
huh?
And I said, no, he's gone. You said until they click, and I said, no.
Yeah, he is gone. See, I need another cup of coffee.
I've got my Mountain Dew down to my left.
There you go. Is it a 2 liter?
It is a full.
Okay.
Yeah, and this cup is probably going to get thrown away at the end of this college football season. But
That's okay. No, but so like when they can get it all going, I think you've got truly something special. The question is, can they get it all going? And Henry brought up a point on our show the other day that, you look at a guy like Sam Surridge for Nashville, who he could not figure out which direction to kick the ball last year.
Okay, well then how much of that is Gary Smith's philosophy, and how much of that is BJ Callahan?
I think that is a significant part of it for sure. And then that obviously brings in the question in the offseason, what overall does change with kind of the way that Dyla is playing, and do these new players that are coming in now and possibly in the winter, does that change up things for Dyla to be able to play a more preferred something? I don't know, but lots of questions for those three. But I will say, like, the guys that came on, Better Call, Alsate for the short time, like I liked what I saw in the very small sample size. Barricall, I loved the moment that he quote unquote collided with Owusu.
I was gonna say there was the moment where Jarrett kind of refers to it as having some bitch in you, and
100%.
after all of the stuff that Owusu had been pulling, and I
Yep.
will use that terminology, where he was trying to goad individuals into, I mean, and I don't know why it took Armando, our buddy in the middle, Armando, until the 60th minute to give him a yellow card with all the shenanigans he was doing, the pushing, the shoving, the continued pushing and shoving, the falling down like he'd been blown over by a hurricane gale when he was barely touched. But then the moment late where it seemed like it was a bit of a receipt, and for those who missed it, Owusu is trying to get to the ball. Barricall stands up right between the two of them, and basically Owusu bounces off of Barricall. And I love the moment where Barricall just kind of looks down and
Yeah, he goes,
yeah, okay,
yeah, get up.
yeah, get up. I like that. I like that early return of the bitch that we saw in Barricall.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've had that conversation on here how many times over the past couple of years? It seems like.
I know.
Where you just, you need that guy who's going to say, dude, I'm not, you can try to give me the shenanigans, but I am the master now, like I'm going to be the one who's going to show something entirely different that this team hasn't seen in quite some time. And look, it's 30 minutes in one game, but it's little moments like that where you're like, okay, I like the attitude. I like what I see out of him not giving into the crap, despite like the way that the result was going at the time and the way the season is going. And I know maybe he's a little more immune from the way the entire season has gone because he just got here, but he steps in and he says, hey, I want to help this team. And maybe he's been listening to us and he said, hey, those two guys said they They need some more asshole in this team.
There's the E. There it is. Attaboy.
And yeah, so I'm gonna go do that. I don't know, but it was good to see. So besides that, though, just his work rate, him and Alzate both had some like beautiful passing,
Yeah,
beautiful.
the dime that he dropped late to Ronald, who chested it down for the late chance.
Yeah, it's simple things like that. It's that quality, and I guess the pessimist, and I don't have much of a pessimist in me, to be fair, but I have to look at it like overall the way that things have gone the past couple of years. You know, you look at summer signings, and they're great for that period of time after the summer, and then they come in the next season, and things are like a drop off, and you go, where was that guy that was here 6 months ago? And I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping you don't have that fall off. But for now, I'm going to enjoy it. I like what I saw out of those guys.
Yeah, and my follow-up question, where our Alexei Miranchuk discussion is that once again, there's only so much he can do. It's the chicken and the egg argument. There's only so much that Alexei can do with the day-to-day, the match performances of the folks around him. It's like, well, you know, if you have folks doing the same things, you're going to be bumping into each other like, you know, like it's bumper cars at Six Flags. You're going to be having those moments and having to sort through that. That's been a part of this whole thing up front that we have seen this year. And I'm glad everyone is getting to see the point guard and the imagination that we knew that Alexei had, and we were seeing that over the last handful of weeks. Where no lie, the post game the post game report on 92.9, literally when you give player of the match, it is turned into either the Bart Sleesh or the Alexei Miranchuk Memorial Award, considering what we've seen from them over the last 2 months.
Yeah, because they've been the two most consistent players on the team by far. And like, it's not even close, in my opinion. Sleesh has done everything he's needed to do and then some as a midfielder. And the biggest thing with him is it's consistent, because we could, on any given day, you could have that same conversation about Tristan Muyumba, but Tristan Muyumba will have a good game or a good period during the game, and then something will happen. He'll just fall off.
Yeah, the first 45 was did not sit well, and you end up with Will Riley causing problems for Montreal in the second 45.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, for all the years that Atlanta United went through where they struggled with their midfield, you actually do have some really good talent there, and that's not including who you just brought in.
And so, it's not including Jay Fortune either.
Exactly. So Tristan Muyumba right now is kind of the odd man out, if we're being honest. But yeah, Slish, he's done the job and then some, and he's become much more of a leader. I mean, he had the captain's armband for that final Leagues Cup match. Thought he did very well. I thought it was a great moment of redemption for him after what happened in Leagues Cup last year.
Right.
And I'm happy he had that moment, but he's been, even before that and now after, he's continuing to kind of be and step up as a leader on the pitch, whether or not he has the armband or not. So yeah, him. And then Miranchuk, again, if I'm going to gripe about anything, it's just like, especially that 45th through, let's say, 75th minute, I want him to be a lot more involved, because it does feel like he kind of disappears for stretches, but he's coming through in the moments that matter. He's taken the shots from outside the box, which we've asked for, we've hoped for, and he scored a couple weeks ago, and he went for one in this match. He got the dinky, weird, whatever goal in this one that gave you the draw. Cool. I'll take it. I don't care how it goes in the back of the net as long as it does. So,
and then he hits the crossbar at 90+2.
Yep. And
so
it's just trying. It's taking the shots. And as a DP, like, you've got the talent to go and hit those kind of shots. I mean, your first goal was that, right? It was that same area, the shot, and then this one, you just happened to hit the crossbar. And then you had an identical goal a couple of weeks ago. That little pocket of space just outside and to the right of the box is his, like, bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he's trying it more from there, because he's got it. He knows how to hit it. but it's also him making the more willing runs into the box just to be there in case something happens. And that's exactly what happened here. I mean, he continued to run and ended up on the end of, kind of a cluster a little bit and was able to head it in. And sometimes that's what these games come down to. So DPs have to play full 360-degree soccer, and I feel like he's getting there. I feel like the other two are still playing like 180-degree soccer.
180-degree soccer. Tyler Pilgrim, Scarves and Spikes, always batting leadoff with us here on Wednesdays, and now it's going to catch up with an old friend, Noah Cobb, and they went to Minnesota, got a result. We caught up with Casey White, who called that match with Evan Weston. And it is now going to Colorado to find out about Chris Armas, to find out what Noah Cobb is up to. So it's the second week in a row that you're facing an old friend.
Yeah. And, I thought Efrain, I don't think he had a bad game at all. I think Efrain, Montreal got out of Efrain what I think Atlanta folks kind of expect. Like, he's still young, but he's got the raw talent there, and he's very headstrong. I think it was even mentioned in the Apple broadcast when I was listening to it up in Chattanooga, that he kind of is that bit of a bulldog he's going to come in, and when he gets the timing right, it's perfect. But if he doesn't, he's going to end up with a significant amount of yellow cards. We know this. This is no secret to us. He had a couple of bad giveaways in that game against, and almost gifted Atlanta some goodness, and unfortunately, couldn't convert necessarily. But then you jump over to Noah Cobb. This is, like you said, this is another very familiar face, and this is nothing against Ephraim, but I think Noah is going to be a little more polished. I think he's going to give Colorado a bit more back there. And then, of course, you throw in that he's now had more than a few weeks to adjust to the altitude, unlike Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be a tougher test, and I think Noah, he'll show really well. And I'm not saying that means that Atlanta wins, loses, or draws. I don't know. I think if I had to choose, I think we're looking at another draw. But I think you'll see some good signs out of Noah for sure.
Yeah. Abby asking the question: being on loan, is he allowed to play against the team that loaned him? I would think that that's not something that's in the way, but I'm double checking.
I mean,
MLS loan. I know that's in like cup competitions overseas. You see where players can't play against their own clubs and things like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the MLS rules.
Yeah, right.
Now, it could be a part of the loan itself.
Hey, we're coming up on the schedule. You're not playing against us.
We'll see.
I'm trying to search the Googles. The player may compete against his former club during the MLS season while on loan.
Yeah.
2025 roster rules.
Now, that being said, again, that's the caveat would be if Atlanta in that loan agreement said, no, you're not playing against us.
Right. Yeah. If there was fine print.
Yeah.
That Kroenke Sports and Entertainment are sitting there going, what's that? But as of the rules as they are stated, that he is, and you figure that his engine will be running a little warmer than normal considering who's coming to town. And Pars with an interesting question separately, curious if altitude teams have better home records on average. It just depends, because there are two philosophies when it comes to playing at altitude. Either you go in way early and get acclimated, or basically you parachute in, you come in like the morning of or like the night before, so you don't have to get as acclimated or as cranky. Your bronchial system doesn't get as cranky as it would otherwise. So literally you go in way early or you come in way late, you do your job, then you leave. And there are two philosophies. So it's kind of a 50-50 thing. So I am intrigued. For those of you who know folks at MLS stats, we need that number stat. The other stuff that I wanted to kind of get into you with as we kind of lead into the weekend, there were some reports that came out yesterday. And I want to start out with, as our Bart Keeler refers to them, the low down dirty cheaters up I-85. And it appears Nothing official from Messi and friends yet in the form of any kind of a press release. I don't think. I mean, I can check my mail real quick
I
and
haven't
see.
seen anything.
Yeah, because I haven't seen anything from Messi and friends about it. No, I just have the media availability from yesterday. So it appears that Drake Callender, who has been spending a boatload of time watching Rocco Rios Novo, everything circles back to Atlanta United. He has been
So weird,
spending
isn't it?
a lot of time watching Rocco Rios Novo and Oscar Ustari between the sticks with Messi and friends. It appears that Charlotte, who already has David Bingham, even though David Bingham, U.S. Open Cup hero David Bingham, is under contract through this year only, and there is no option year after. And you already have Christian Kalina, who is making, I think, 887, I think was the number that I think MLS players had. The MLSPA had that as his total comp. So Charlotte, for some reason, even though we have posted the evidence here, seems to be interested in bringing Drake Callender over from Messi and friends. Are we looking at 1+1 equaling Christian Kalina going someplace, or is the fact that David Bingham doesn't have another option year after this, and Drake Callender, is it a competition? What is your thought pattern on Drake Callender leaving Messi and friends, where basically all he was doing was sitting around, and he is a more financially viable starter, if you want to go that way, than Kalina? What's your initial thought on this particular movement?
I kind of gone back and forth as I've thought about this one, because in one way I'm like, Kalina, reigning goalkeeper of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Mhm.
And he's done extremely well in his entire time here. He's also been here for a minute now, and you have to wonder, like, is he kind of ready to move on and leave on a high note and kind of move to the next thing? Because it's not unrealistic. I think, what is it, 4 years now?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he just kind of had went to the front office and said, like, hey, I think it's about time. And maybe I'm sure with how he's been playing, he's been getting offers. I don't doubt that at all. And maybe one of the offers or some of the offers that came through intrigued him a little bit. And if that's the case, like, yeah, you kind of have to go find somebody. Drake Callender's a easy, good shout, because yeah, he's just kind of been hanging out. That being said, this is my own personal opinion.
Sure.
I don't think Drake Callender's a good goalkeeper, personally.
Well, and I mean, you go back to your first sentence. Drake Callender's been hanging out. He's been beaten by Rocco Rios Novo and Oscar Ustari. He's the number 3 keeper there, and he is in the big recliners at the erector set on game days, and he's in street clothes.
Yeah.
So I mean, Charlotte sees something? Question mark.
Or they know for sure that that Kalina is going to be on the way out, and they've got to go ahead and get ahead of things and figure it out this year, like right now in this window.
Yeah.
So they're not scrambling in the off season, because in the off season, you go into that winter window, and we all know that if your hand is laid out for everybody to see, things get a little bit more difficult in terms of negotiations. So going into this winter in saying, like, we don't need a goalkeeper, but we might still shop for one, at least gives Charlotte a little bit of a leg up in things. But I mean, for Miami, it's just continuing to clear out space and make room for that 15th DP that they're going to get. But like, I don't know. I mean, I think he's a good stopgap solution for Charlotte if Kalina is in fact on his way out, or at least somebody there to provide some maybe a little bit of competition. But I just don't see that being. I don't see Drake Callender being like the starting goalkeeper for Charlotte going forward.
You're not sold on this one at all.
I'm not. I'm really not.
You're trying to walk your way through it, and I can hear the gears going as you're trying to walk your way through it, and it's like, I'm not convinced. I see what I think I see what they're doing, but I don't. Literally, it's like your gears are trying to process this like the big old dominoes thing that people want to try and set the Guinness World Record for, to make sure that all the dominoes are the right way, and you hit
Yeah.
the one to make sure
It's
that
just not happening.
it's. I mean,
Here's the thing.
sure.
When Drake Callender got called up to the men's national team,
Mhm.
I was shocked. And I know that was during like some time when he was actually having a good run of form, but seeing him before that, he hadn't been great. And then he had a massive falling off shortly thereafter. And he's been kind of up and down since then, but mostly down. And then, to your point, Rocco Rios Novo has popped in, done his thing. Ustari done his thing. Like, he's just fallen down the depth chart, and he the mental mistakes that man makes on any given day are almost unforgivable for a goalkeeper. It's one thing to have a howler, but it's one thing to have a howler almost every game, and it seems like he's prone to one every time he plays. And so I'm just like, until he gets that sorted out, and maybe for him, and maybe for Charlotte, a change of scenery is exactly what he needs. So there's always that caveat. But I don't like the move. Well, I mean, I guess I do, being an Atlanta fan.
Sure. Line him in. Put him in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, have him play, because like what Jordan's saying, we kind of handled Drake Callender a handful of times over the years. So
yes. Mm-hmm.
It works, but weird move.
Yeah, and speaking of, because of Rodrigo de Paul coming in, that has created some other roster maneuverability things that they've got to figure out. Apparently, and this is according to our friend Herman Garcia Grova, Federico Redondo is on his way out, and it appears Gonzalo Piovi is on his way in. So Redondo appears, like I said, I have seen nothing in my emails or anything from Messi and friends about this move yet. But Redondo apparently, according to Grova, is heading to Elche, and it is a permanent transfer, and it's set for a 5-year deal. So Redondo out. Redondo was made redundant when DePaul came in. And now, apparently, in addition to all of this, and this might be a part of it too, with the Drake Callender transaction, if he's an outbound. So then if you do math, which for me is pretty rough. So 2 out, perhaps 2 in. So if Callender goes out, Redondo goes out, then you end up with Gonzalo Piovi, central defender Cruz Azul on his way in. And the way that it's phrased by Herman Garcia Grova, I love this. The central defender, who is Argentine, gave the okay to play on Leo Messi's team. I love how that was phrased. Apparently, it is working with Cruz Azul on a deal valued around $7 million. So Piovi in, Redondo out, Callender out. So that's how it's looking right now. And I'm guessing that with the 2 out, you're creating a little bit more space to navigate if Piovi is the guy to help you out at central defense, because God bless America and all of the Carnival Cruise Lines hanging out on the shore. They need central defense help like you wouldn't believe, but we have seen consistently over a long period of time.
Yeah, but I'm just like, $7 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't understand. Like, it's been a joke for a long time, but I don't get what kind of hoops this team is jumping through to be able to bring somebody in for that amount with no DP slots and make it work.
Well, I mean, the way that it is in the machination is, and this is me and my conjecture, like it is with Rodrigo DePaul, TAM this year, and we'll figure it out.
I guess. But I just feel like at some point, like that we'll figure it out part could inevitably come crashing down.
Unless you add the fourth,
to.
unless you add the fourth DP to the league finally.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be super convenient? I'm trying to, and I'm curious too, because I'm just trying to see how much Calendar is making $455,000.
So that's
And
basically half of Kalina.
Yeah.
If you work it that way. So I know that you're working internally and with Charlotte. So I know where you're going here. So for the Charlotte part, he is more financially viable than Christian Kalina on a yearly basis, about half the salary. So now internally, go.
Well, that's the thing. From the other side of it, though, that doesn't free up anything really for Miami other than it could be a TAM situation. I guess that's still, I mean, for a TAM move, like that's pretty low, but I'm sure there's other work going on there for Miami because you free up that $455,000 from Calendar, but like, and then however much Redondo was making.
Yeah.
Which let's just see where we're at with him. 837. So there's your TAM. I would think that that would have to be it though. Like you have to put him on TAM. I don't even know if you could just do it for this year. I think it would have to be part of next year.
Yeah. I mean, and you're going to look at your, tell you what, we'll do some Messi and Friends salary. We'll look at contracts here in a second. Tommy Scoops on POV. Deal is difficult with the salary cap due to the fee. $7 million asking price almost definitely won't fit, but Miami working to find a solution, which might be the calendar part of this to help things out. POV joined Cruz still in 2024, previously with Racing Club. Okay, so now if we are to continue to be capologists here, as we have done, MLS, okay, not that one. So the GAM available. So let me look at I'm not looking at the GAM per se because this is stuff that was as of March 7 and there have been some transactions, but I'm looking at contracts and who is going to be there and who is not going to be there. So here is it's under Miami, not Inter. Okay, so all right, so contracts. All three of your DPs are up for renewal this year, but Jordi Alba signed an extension. Messi has not signed his contract yet, and I think they're still looking at Sergi Busquets. Let's see. What other decisions have to be made? Allende is on loan, so that could be a kick out because that's this year.
Yeah.
Let's see. David Martinez is that was this year. Okay, so Suarez as a TAM is this year. Calendar was 25 with an option for 26. Fafa Pico 25 with an option for 26. Oscar Ustari and Cello Weigand 25s, no option years. And then you get into your supplementals. And who is that supplemental? So Ian Frey is a supplemental with no renewal after this year, and Ryan Saylor is a supplemental with no option year after this year. So there is, I figure that as we look at this, nothing like doing Messi and Friends 101.
Yeah.
My guess is that Suarez, Rodrigo DePaul, that's your swap out there. If you look at name and availability, so that's what I'm staring at with that one. So whatever big name you brought in first, that's your Suarez swap. The question now is Sergi Busquets. What does Busquets want to do after this year? He has said publicly that, we ain't talking about nothing yet. And, he's kicking the can down the road. So there's an opening, a DP opening there. There is what they might do. Here's a thought. So as we workshop this morning, what if, let's say, that Busquets comes back, but he goes to the TAM level deal. He goes down, he gets a salary drop, and he turns it into a TAM. DePaul turns into that Busquets slot, and they try to figure out what to do with POV with the Suarez money, plus anybody else that they may not renew from 25 that doesn't have an option year for 26. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Nothing like trying to do capology on the fly.
I mean, I think that would have to be the only way that they could do it, because it's not just a matter of the cap space. It's that transfer fee, and then how long it's going to be for, which is that going to put him at a DP level or not. And so then, unless you can stretch that out over a certain amount of time,
Yeah,
and or provide other financial benefits unrelated to the cap.
the marketing deal. Hey, yeah. I mean, look, I give Messi and friends all the credit in the world. I do, because of the creative financing that they're doing with the rules as they are, pushing everybody else in the league to do all those kinds of things. I get, and like I said, and probably encouraging de facto the fourth DP, and doing the whole marketing side of it, because the Messi deal, I think, is 60, but he's only 25 in salary that's attached to what's going on with the league.
Yeah.
You can't turn the channel on a Major League Soccer broadcast, regardless of network, and not see him as every possible individual who is helping you out at Lowe's, who is, you say, hey, Moss, then the more Messi, the more, yes, the more Messi's at a Lowe's to help me load my car, the better, I guess. Excuse me, Mr. Messi, where can I find washers, and washers and dryers? Where can I find, where can I find tubing to help me out? And so you have
Michelob Ultras.
Yeah. Mr. Messi.
Right.
So look, $35 million of that. So that is, look, you found ways around it by sitting there and making it NIL and salary. Good on you for doing that. So I think you're helping the league out in that regard because of the salary constraints that you have. So I will be intrigued to find out what this twisting of the numbers is going to be to make everybody fit, with a wink and a nudge underneath the whole thing.
And I've thought about this. We've had many conversations, especially like in the Discord, about how could Atlanta do this. And I think, like, man, Home Depot, Coca-Cola,
Yeah,
UPS,
UPS,
name any of them here in Atlanta.
Delta,
100%. Like, there are so many, and like a lot of these already have partnerships and or are also owned by the same people.
Yeah,
Like it could happen in Atlanta if they could figure out how to get creative enough to make it happen. And because that's what this all comes down to, if we're being honest. It's just creativity. It's bending the rules literally to the extent that you can without breaking them, I think. I mean, we may find out a year or two from now that they've broken the rules. I don't know.
Well, but remember, they did get in trouble for sitting there and thinking 5 equaled 3.
Yeah, I think.
And one of those guys literally lasted the sum total of a Santi Sosa hip check.
Yeah.
Remember Blaise Matuidi, everybody?
Yeah. And
5 equaled 3. Sure, it did.
And that was what was so funny about it. It was such a terrible overall signing, and you got all this crap from it. But it almost makes me feel like, did that just teach them how to hide it better?
I mean, just
I don't know.
Creative financing. So I mean, it was, look, you'll learn that 5 doesn't equal 3, and then you find out other ways to get around it. And then hopefully, does it encourage a loosening of the salary cap number? Does it increase the number of DPs to 4 because of how you want the league to grow? Those kinds of things. These are all the questions that are a part of it. And to that end, let me wrap up you this week with Yeonmin Son and his time now in Los Angeles at LAFC, where LAFC, it's $26 million, I think, if all of the metrics are met. But you end up with an individual that opens up yet another door for you. and when it comes to the marketing of the league, and I would equate this to what Seattle did when they brought in Ichiro Suzuki. Yep. You open that door, and it is to an underserved market and an obvious market for your league, and you bring in Sonny to be a part of things. And so first question for Sonny, trivia question. So where was your MLS debut? Chicago? No, Bridgeview. Yep. So, I mean, but LAFC opens that door to another group of soccer-starved individuals, and they can follow Yeonmin Son. So these clubs are hitting these notes across the board.
Yeah, the Son move to me was so smart on so many levels. I mean, it's very similar to Messi, but Messi that stands out anywhere in the world. It didn't matter where he went. He could have went to Antarctica, and all of a sudden there would be a whole ton of people moving to Antarctica to start a soccer team. Like, it's just how it is. Son is, if you don't know this, worshipped in Korea. I mean, worshipped. And I've talked about this on our MLS show on Monday a few times over the past couple of weeks since this, what was a rumor and now isn't, came out. But Son is a very interesting individual in the sense that, like, the way that he kind of carries himself in and around the training ground and the club. Like, he has a secretary that his entire time at Spurs, like, the secretary just was with him all the time. And he didn't he didn't field questions. Like, I mean, obviously, like, press conferences and stuff, but, like, the internal stuff, that all went through his own personal secretary. He has, like, his own entourage. And I was curious, like, how is that gonna equate to MLS, And I'm sure we'll see. But it's just it's a different cultural thing. It's just how he is. He is beloved in South Korea. And LA, as we know, has a massive Korean population. So it just fit perfectly. And I mean, so much so that, like, from our experience, like on MLS Monday, we have a variety of Korean people that are just finding the show and saying, like, hey, y'all are talking about Son. I'm going to go see him at Toyota Field. Or I live in South Korea and I can't wait to watch his home debut in LA at middle of the night Korean time. And it's just like, that's the kind of draw that he has. They're selling out jerseys, everything else. I love it for them. I think it's a smart move. And yeah, it opens up an entire new audience to Major League Soccer that otherwise probably wouldn't have been there at all. They would not have cared about Major League Soccer.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Sonny makes it with LAFC and their rush in the Western Conference as they go forward. Okay, time for the plug. Let me know what's going on at SNS. Obviously, MLS Monday was 48 hours ago, but you did get to drop that reference leading into what's going on. So what's going on, he asked?
So we've got a lot going on, actually. It's a weird, kind of a weird week.
How weird is it?
I think it feels weird because we're going back to our normal Wednesday because we don't have a midweek game right now. Those Open Cup.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. So we actually have Mark Rogandino on tonight with us at 7. So our normal 7 o'clock show, Scarves and Spikes YouTube. Go check it out. So we'll have him on with us talking about Atlanta and a little bit about Montreal, and then of course going forward to Colorado. So just chatting it up, and I don't know, just kind of seeing where and what Atlanta does here in the next couple of months.
And see if you can get out of Rogo a CIF preview.
Okay.
He'll know what you
CIF?
CIF? Okay. CIF is the highfalutin high school football confederation in Southern California. That's like all the bigwigs, like Long Beach Poly, Corona Centennial, Mater Day, all those. See if he can give you a CIF preview.
Okay.
And he has worked with our friend. He's worked with our friend Casey White. So yeah. So Rogo and KD were working a couple of times back. So yeah. So see if you can get a high school preview out of Rogo for the CIF, and I'll use the quotes in a future column on the high school version of me. So
sweet. I will do my best.
Absolutely. So it's CIF, the California Interscholastic Federation, I think is what it is.
These
But
are like
yeah,
the high schools that have like more budgets than like NASA.
yeah. So yeah, these. So hang on just a second. Let me get the CIF because the CIF is about ready to start fairly soon. So hang on. So yeah. So if you get you got to get a CIF question in there. CIF, high school. Spell high school, John. No, that's not a JOGH. That's what happens when you have fat fingers.
HISKOOL.
I know exactly. So CIF Southern section is where all the heavyweights are. So it is, but yeah. So seriously, the National 25, you're looking at a bunch of folks. But yeah, see if you can get a CIF Southern section preview out of Rogo when you have him on the show. I'm looking forward to seeing what he says.
I will do my best.
All right. At ATL Pilgrim and at Scarves and Spikes.
Yep.
As always, my friend, great to see you in the midweek, and we will carry it through, and we will talk about things. That's the official term. Be safe, my friend. Enjoy and get the rest of that second cup of coffee going.
Yes, indeed. Be safe on the way home.
Yes, sir. 7 hours. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, yay.
Bye.
Yeah.
That's Tyler. Tyler putting up with us on a Wall Pass Wednesday because you never know where it's going to go. And that's part and parcel to it because I didn't know that he was going to have Rogo on the show. It looks like right now, as of this moment, we are going to have Marcelo Balboa on the show Friday morning at 10. And Cello is having his jersey retired in Colorado on the weekend. And they've actually got, and this is one of the questions that I've got to ask him, and hopefully we can secure Matt Pollard from Burgundy Wave as well for a return visit for opposition research. I want to ask them about the bobbleheads. First off, does Cello get his own bobblehead? Because they came out with the preview video, and you know, you get your ticket, you're one of the first 2,000 in, you get your Cello bobblehead. So Marcelo Balboa is set to join us on Friday at 10. Morning, Abby. Thanks for hanging out as you always do. Listen in the car. So right now it is looking like this for the remainder of the week. Obviously, with the twos practicing with the first team, we're going to have to push Jose Silva to another time. So tomorrow looks like Marty Jellamy, the head coach for United, is going to be in hour number 1. I think Matt Pollard from Burgundy Wave is going to be in hour number 1. Hour number 2, I don't know the machinations yet, but it looks like one and or both. We just have to figure out who's at 9:05 and who's at 9:30. I think that's what hour number 1 is going to be like tomorrow. Or we'll go long and Matt will join us after Nico Moreno at about 11:05, which would be 9:05 his time, and he's not having to wake up early and try and string sentences together without caffeine. So hour number 2 tomorrow, Nino and Nico, and we're back in the studio for that. So Nino's going to talk about Portugal. We're going to play. He doesn't know this yet, but if you get Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Here's one of your promos for the morning. This is where we'll get through all the promos. If you get Fanatis, then what you can do is watch Goal TV on the weekends. And we always ask Nino what games he's calling so we can listen in. If you follow Nino on social media, literally, he has a conversation with you while he's calling the match. So Nino, I'll be watching the match he's calling, and I'll WhatsApp him because that's how I communicate with him is through WhatsApp. And I sit there and go, hey, I'm looking at the match and I'll go, well, so-and-so, I don't think so-and-so is going to make it the full 90 minutes. And so then what he'll do is on the broadcast, and this will be the part that we play tomorrow, it's where he'll say, I'm my man, Johnny Nelson from Soccer Down Here, and he'll run that. So we'll run that section as a bit of a surprise. But that's the kind of conversation that Nino has, and he is one of the true gems of the business when it comes to calling matches. You can get Fanatis, you get Goal TV, Nuestra Tele, CDO, For the Fans, Liga 1, Liga 1 Max Pro. You can watch Santi Sosa in the LPF. You can watch Luis Abram at Sporting Cristal like we did last Saturday in a street fight against Melgar. That's what you can watch in Liga 1 Max Pro. You get all the BNs. They've got AFCON going on right now, and so AFCON group stage is going on. Watch that on all the BNs. You got Tigo Sports, Canal 4, CATV. You've got Teise, Nuestra Tele, CDO, For the Fans, all that stuff. And they've also added TVV, which is a pay-per-view. It's an added option to the basic service. But subscribe to Fanatis. You can catch up with our friend Nino Torres at Gold TV. He'll be on with us at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Nico Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart joins us in the last half hour. So, like I said, it's a bit of a wandering rundown tomorrow. Okay, so it looks like Matt Pollard is going to be joining us at 9 off the top. And then we'll see if we can slide Marty Jellamy to like 9:20, 9:30, somewhere in there. So Matt Pollard, Burgundy Wave, opposition research tomorrow morning at 9. 7 o'clock in Denver, so please be kind. Marty Jellamy, we'll slide him to 9:30, 9:20, 9:30. And then we'll get Marty Jellamy. We'll get the update on the unified team. We will get what's going on after Genuine Cup, where they come home winning a group, and they're getting ready for the matchup against Toronto. That is on the 24th. I believe it's after the Toronto match. Remember, 4 o'clock start on the 24th, Atlanta and Toronto. It's an odd duck start time, but you get Atlanta United and you get the unified team in the back end of the home and home with Toronto FC on the 24th. So we'll talk to Marty about the very busy month. We'll talk about All-Star, talk about Genuine Cup, talk about playing international competition, talk about Toronto, everything for the 24th. Marty will be in hour number 1 along with Matt Pollard, Burgundy Wave. Nino Torres, Nico Moreno, that's Thursday. So that's Thursday. Friday, it is looking at Marcelo Balboa at 10 o'clock. Hopefully our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can join at 9:30, and then we'll try and dance around what's going on there, see if our friends from the Marshall Islands can join us. By the way, the Outrigger Challenge Cup starts today. They have one matchup as kind of a kickoff match. Then the Marshall Islands play on Thursday. I'll be out there Saturday. We'll have a lot of stuff posted for social media and such, and that'll be cool to be a part of that piece of history. If you follow them, I would recommend it. Follow them on the social medias. You're getting a lot of support from the soccer community, a lot of likes, a lot of follows. I think they're now over 9,000 followers on the 280 character app. So there's that role that is there with the Marshall Islands Federation. Like I said, that's Saturday. We'll be out there for that. Saturday also, Atlanta and Colorado. It is going to be Maddie running point on the coverage for Five Stripes Countdown and the full-time report. And we will see what it looks like with that, with Atlanta and Colorado. We'll talk about that a little bit on Friday as well, as everybody gets ready for travel and heading out to Denver. So that is the week, I believe. I think that's the week that I know anyway. So yeah, tomorrow morning is stacked. It is Matt Pollard, Burgundy Wave, opposition research on Colorado. And we'll find out about Marty Jellamy and the unified team, Nino and Nico. That's Thursday. That's all locked in. Marcelo Balboa set to join us Friday. Maybe our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring now that the kids are back in school, and we'll get you ready for the weekend there. Okay. So that is what we're staring at. All right. So let's say hi to everybody and get ready for hour 2, which is where we discuss anything and everything going on in and around the planet and find out about transfers and news and all those other things and get you ready for the weekend. So morning, Jordan, and morning, Lokeville. And as I sit here, and like I said, I am keeping an eye on emails to see if Messi and friends will send out a note if the Federico Redondo move to Elche becomes final. So we'll keep an eye on that. So it looks like it's $5 million outbound for Redondo to Elche, $6 or $7 million inbound for POV to help out your backline, which God knows they need it from Cruz Azul. The one thing I didn't get to discuss with Tyler was the loan move of Yorgos Giacomakis that we saw yesterday to PAOK Thessaloniki for 2.3, and then a purchase option of another 2.3 when Cruz Azul spent 10 on Yorgos Giacomakis. 2.3 on a loan to PAOK Thessaloniki, another purchase option. So at most, they would be getting maybe half of their investment back on Yorgos Giacomakis. And you know Cruz Azul is pissed, and you know they're going to try to make some of it up with this Pioli transaction. Pioli is registered at $3 million value on Transfermarkt, but the number that you saw Tom Bogert flip, 6 to 7 million US. So they'll be getting a little bit of the Giacomakis money back if they can sell on POV and work all their financing. So their deficit spending is closing up a little bit if the POV deal goes through, and they can work that out for an experienced central defender for Messi and friends. So morning, Local, morning, Ricky, and morning, Jordan. And let's see. So who else? But yeah, Ricky, why in the world did Charlotte trade Drake Callender? And I haven't seen anything officially from Charlotte either. If something does go down from Charlotte today, I may try and see if we can track down our buddy Will Pelagic and find out if there's anything up and what his kicking of the tires might be. And it appears also this morning that the Archie Goodwin deal with Charlotte has gone through. Check marked. It is Archie Goodwin from Adelaide United, Golden Boot winner in the A-League, and it was rumored to be about a $2 million purchase. So good for Adelaide United because, and we got into the discussion yesterday with Jarrett, that the A-League is not, the A-League meaning Australia, the A-League is not really in a good financial place across the board. So for the A-League to do this kind of business is a good piece of business for them. I wonder how Archie Goodwin will translate to Major League Soccer. 20-goal scorer, yes. Adelaide United, yes. Golden Boot winner, yes. $2 million transaction is what was discussed. Charlotte Football Club has come out with the official statement type thing. And it is, once again, a 3.5-year contract through 2028, pending receipt of the ITC and the P1 visa, occupying an international roster spot. Quote from Zoran Cornetta. So Z-Man says, Archie's coming off a strong first season with Adelaide United at just 20 years old. We can't wait to see that momentum with us. I'm imagining he's going to be in a U22 spot. Can't wait to see that carry that momentum with us. His awareness within the box, willingness to run and attack spaces are a few of the top qualities we saw that made us want to pursue him. We want to see Archie develop and create good competition within our club, end quote. 13 goals, 26 matches. Adelaide United in the top division, 3 braces. Golden Boot. Adelaide, 6th place finish. Began his career under the Newcastle United Jets organization, starting out at 16. Professional debut in 2021, 1-0 win over Melbourne Victory. 4 seasons, 8 goals, 2 assists in 46 matches. Along his club career, featured for Australia U20, logging 6 appearances, 2-goal contribution in the AFC U20 Asian Cup group stage, occupying an international roster spot. So it is a transfer, but no word on if he's going to occupy a U22 or if he's just going to occupy a flat-out roster spot. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Morning, David. Thank you for being here. I was fashionably late because of the internet here in the house in Topsail and hitting the mute button and not turning the mute button off. So that was where it was this morning. Let's see. Yeah. Don't. And Ricky and I having the conversation about Auburn football. By the way, if any of you are interested, one of the cross sections that we have is the OSG, the review, and the X. And over on the OSG sports side of things, set your favorite podcatchers. It's also available on social media as well. We have a midweek show and a weekend show that comes out early part of the week. So we have a show that reviews everything that happens on a weekend, and we got a midweek show that sets everything up on the weekend. We've started those back up. So for those of you that like college football, go to OSG Sports and set yourself up for those reminders as well. I think we're going to have the voice of Missouri State football on the midweek show, and that's going to be produced, and it should be coming out Friday. So we're going to tape that on Thursday, have it come back on us on Friday. So there you go. All right, so Archie Goodwin is official with Charlotte. So that is something to keep an eye on with Charlotte. Like I said, we're going to keep an eye on everything involving the goalkeeper situation in Charlotte. And there is nothing about any kind of movement yet. Acquiring an international roster spot from Toronto FC in exchange for GAM, $175,000 in GAM. That is the only thing that has happened. The Goodwin signing and the international slot, which is the Goodwin pickup, having to need the international slot to get Goodwin in under the roster qualifications. So deal with Toronto to get a roster spot, to get an international slot. Then you sign Archie Goodwin. Okay, fine. Nothing official from Charlotte on anything Drake Callender yet. So keep an eye out for that when it comes to Charlotte and what we may or may not be seeing there. So recapping once again, Charlotte questions with Drake Callender, which creates questions with Bingham and the possibility of renewing his contract. Once again, no option year after this year. Kalina is through 27, through 26 option year for 27. Does this mean that Kalina is going to be moved on? Because once again, Charlotte's in control of the asset. Do they, for financial reasons, have Callender and put a lot of faith in that? Or is Callender your 1A and not renewing David Bingham, and is the writing on the wall for David Bingham? So that's what you're staring at with Charlotte. Striker in, international slot, 20-year-old Aussie. Keeper looking to go in. Don't quite know if that's officially official yet. It's being reported as a deal, nothing from either club. And once again, nothing from either club involving the movement that we were discussing with Messi and friends, and Redondo out to Elche, 5-year deal, being reported, not official. Then Piovi coming in from Cruz Azul, $6 to $7 million price tag, nothing official yet being looked at. So Callender and Redondo out, Piovi in, and that's where your financial allotments and look, Sunleahy and that crew down there in Fort Lauderdale, the capologists that are there, those are some mathematicians. I give them absolute credit for being mathematicians and figuring out, okay, how do we make this work, understanding, and at the bottom of it all is the notion of, hey, would you like to come play with Lionel Messi? Or Messi wants you is probably more accurate. And then you sit there and you go, well, duh, of course I want to. And so that's kind of where we are with Messi and friends right now. Thomas Mueller, by the way, is coming into Vancouver tonight. They're doing the whole thing at the airport. Mueller disembarks, and you have all of the pomp and the circumstance. For those of you in Vancouver, I got the release this morning, by the way. So let's see, where is it? Thomas Mueller from Munich to Vancouver. Here's how it was titled in the release. Thomas Mueller YVR arrival. YVR is like ATL. It's the airport designation. So set to welcome the arrival of Thomas Mueller Wednesday, August 13th. Media are invited to capture the arrival of Der Raumdeuter, and they have to RSVP by 3 o'clock Eastern time. And then you sit there and let them know if you need parking. So 8:45 tonight, so just before dinner, and this was well done by Vancouver, so the local media can have something to do for their 6 o'clock newscast tonight. Well done, Vancouver Whitecaps. Allegedly, the estimated arrival, levels 2 information desk. Thomas Mueller is arriving. So basically, this isn't even an interview opportunity. This is literally Thomas Mueller showing up on a plane and disembarking. That's what you get. Thomas Mueller disembarking at 5:45 local time in Vancouver today. That's what you're there to shoot. So Thomas Mueller disembarking on a plane, all the flash bulbs, Thomas Mueller walking with his carry-ons and his big bags and his family and his entourage and everything. That at level 2 of the Vancouver airport is what the local media get at 5:45 local time this afternoon, 8:45 tonight for us Eastern time. So you got that. That's also on the board. It was interesting for me to find out that there were other players. Cincinnati was interested. And Mueller was like, no. And the reason was that he did not want to be turned into a marketing opportunity. Basically, he just didn't want to be there just for pictures, and he knew that the pressure was going to be attached to all of that stuff. So Thomas Mueller wanted to go to a place where he would be appreciated, he could play, and they knew what he wanted to accomplish. He wouldn't be just the perpetual, dog and pony show and flashbulbs and circus atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. And so that was why he didn't want that pressure put on him. And so he's like, nah, Cincinnati, don't think so. And so because they had dibs, they got $400,000 for him from Vancouver. And so now he's heading out to Vancouver. I am intrigued with Gold, White, Nelson, no relation, Mueller, Berhalter. That's some stuff right there. Keep an eye on Jesper Sorensen in Vancouver. They've hit that little rough patch where, you start the season and everything is just going so well. And then with all the different competitions, they kind of hit some speed bumps. Now, with Mueller coming in, you've got that fresh face coming in and, fresh minutes and all those kinds of things. I want to see how he integrates. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he integrates with the Vancouver Whitecaps. I'm intrigued by this. So that front five or that attacking five that you're going to see, maybe the front seven, it's going to be pretty tough. But I also want to see if he ends up being more like Marco Reus, or if he does in fact flourish and it takes him, immediately flourishes and pushes Vancouver back to where they were, or it takes Marco Reus like a season and then Marco Reus is finally kind of getting into what LAG wants him to do. So the Thomas Mueller conditions in Vancouver, that's also what I am intrigued with as well. Just because of the outlay and all the things. So there you go. Jordan gets bonus points. Jordan gets bonus points because I think Jordan's got FlightAware. Jordan says his flight just took off from Munich if he's flying from there. Arrival into IVR at 4:50 Vancouver time. So, Jordan, if you've got FlightAware, I have FlightAware. I do this occasionally. I'm one of those sickos that likes to follow, flights and planes and everything. So, I am intrigued. So, Jordan thinks he has Thomas Mueller's plane, and he's tracking it. So, follow Jordan on social media today to get your progress on Thomas Mueller and the flight to Vancouver to YVR, landing just before the 6 o'clock news out there today. Flight radar. So Jordan's using Flight Radar. I use FlightAware, and I have a subscription. He's on Flight 4. So, yeah, Flight Radar 24. I figured there was an A in there. So, Flight Radar 24 is where Jordan is. And so, follow Jordan on social media because he's following the Thomas Mueller plane, we think. And so, Thomas Mueller coming from Munich to Vancouver. Jordan thinks he has it figured out. Flight Radar 24, and follow along there as we go. All right, so let me say hi to everybody else here before we get into the other news and promos and things like that here in the second hour of the show. So hang on. Let's see. Morning Wiley, morning Abby before she had to leave, and Wiley. Yeah, I think that I think you were right on, Wiley, that an engine might have been run a little hot for Efra because of what it meant on a couple of different levels, and that might have contributed to the forcing of the pass and the early chance from Latte. Like I said, he might have been pushing a little bit, but I think he did grow into the game, and it's been interesting to see. Interesting to see what he will be as a part of that back line up there for Marco Donadel in Montreal. And Pars wondering about altitude, and then the same question that Pars had, it's like question Tyler has about teams traveling across the country losing more. Yeah, and I mean there is a train of thought that if you are traveling across the country, then maybe you should just stay. If you've got a couple of matches in a short period of time, stay. Just fly out there, don't come back. Stay out there, get acclimated to the West Coast so you're not having a breakfast kickoff or anything like that. And you can stay if you've got back-to-back. Because you remember that road trip that Atlanta had a couple of years ago that had like Red Bulls and Van and all over the place, and they just kind of stayed on the road. That kind of a thing. 97 heat index already at 9 o'clock in the morning. That is not cool. That is not cool at all. And I mean that both figuratively and literally. And it's just, whew, don't like that. Jordan says, don't think altitude should give the Rapids a huge advantage in their form at home. That's true. Just to let everybody know, the record for Colorado on the road, once the Once the phone decides to behave, and I can actually say what that is. Okay, so here we go. Schedule. I don't want schedule. I don't want schedule. It's like, I know what I want. I'm hitting buttons. So right now, Colorado is in the 8th spot at 33 points. And they are 6-5-2 at home, 3-6-4 on the road. That's why Colorado is where Colorado is. So 6-5-2 at home this year. So a little over 500. And Jordan's already tired of Rodrigo DePaul. You and practically every other fan of a club that is not listed as Messi and friends. Absolutely true. Abby saying, obviously, anything to make it easier for Messi and friends to do what they want to do, MLS will do. Well, I mean, to your point, remember the All-Star game. Remember the All-Star game. And remember how we here on this show, meaning all of you and us, morning David, morning Jordan, remember how we tackled that issue. It was tackled so poorly by Messi and friends. And I mean so poorly that all you had to do was sit there and go, well, leading into the matchup, leading into All-Star Week, leading literally into the match, not something that happens after the match where everybody sits there and goes, well, hey, I don't know, and you raise your eyebrow. Leading into the match against Messi and friends, leading into All-Star break, what do? You spread that seed of doubt. You sit there and you go, Messi and Jordi Alba, they're just, we're kind of monitoring them this week. Every time Javier Mascherano steps in front of a microphone the week leading up to Austin, Michelle Kaufman and everybody else, Franco Panizzo, everybody's asking, injury reports. What's the latest on? Because if Javier Mascherano volunteers the information at the beginning of the week, it turns into a topic of conversation for the entire week and distracts from everything else. Going forward, and I guess we do this as a public service. Hang on. Let me hydrate here for a second. We submit this as a public service to you and to any club going forward that might have these same kinds of conundrums. If you have a player that you are concerned about because of load management, here's what you do. He said Greg Popovich did it in the past. He absolutely did it in the past. You don't take players on road trips. You say it's load management. That's what Popovich did. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, David Robinson, the whole thing. Literally. Those 4 guys, if he had a stupid road trip where he's playing 3 and 8 days or whatever, no, not in the game day lineup, load management. NBA got pissed about it because some of them were big TV games. Pop didn't care. It's about making sure that his players are ready for the postseason. Because a midweek game in, let's see, who would it have been at the time? Charlotte. A midweek game in Charlotte, and you're flying to D.C. to take on Washington or Philly or, the Knicks or the Nets or something like that. That midweek game, when you're like 3 and 8 days or 3 and 9 days, that game against the Charlotte Hornets to Pop meant nothing because it didn't mean anything about the Western Conference, didn't mean anything about the playoff picture itself. And he's sitting there and he's mapping all this stuff out. Man was a genius. You do the same thing if you're a coach in Major League Soccer, especially if you're leading into an MLS All-Star game and you don't want to ding your players up anymore. All you have to do is think about Atlanta United and Greg Garza for that. Leading into that, if you don't want your star to play, the match leading into that weekend before MLS All-Star, I don't know. Volunteer this. I don't know. I don't know if my guy, we're keeping an eye on him. We're keeping an eye on him. We don't know. Turns into an instant topic of conversation the entire week. Hey, what's the latest on so-and-so? What's the latest on this guy? What's the latest? What's the latest? I don't know. Physios are doing the best they can. They're keeping an eye on him. We'll let you know. That's all you've got to do. And then if he doesn't play in the match on the weekend preceding MLS All-Star, because of everything that's happened in the schedules, all the different competitions, all the different things, what you do is you sit there and you sow that bit of interest into doing something else. Make them think about it. So then when that particular individual goes to All-Star Game and All-Star Game festivities, which was the other element in this that we'll get into in a second, you go in street clothes. You know, you take your uniform, you take all your boots and everything, you spend most of your time in street clothes, you walk a little slowly. You know, you sit there and, make sure that you're at 100%, but take it easy. That's what you end up doing in this. Just take it easy so you're not exerting yourself, but sowing that seed of doubt going into Major League Soccer All-Star Week so you don't get dinged by the league for not showing up for a league function. Zlatan didn't care, and that was Zlatan, so whatever, that's fine. But this was your number one dog, one of his teammates, both not interested. Okay, fine, I get it. But just sow the seed of doubt and follow a path. Don't just sit there and say, after the match, he's got to be in Austin, Texas on Monday after the match on Saturday night or Sunday night. Don't sit there and not do anything for like a triple negative. Lay it all out there where all of that's taken care of. And so, he's nursing an injury and we don't know. That's the topic. Going into All-Star manager. Yeah, he's nursing an injury. We don't know. Information's already been put out there. And the other element in this, where you have folks sitting there and going, well, there's stuff wrong with the All-Star game and the format and all these kinds of things. You had the Moss brothers going rawr about the All-Star game and the format and all this kind of stuff. And how, look, when there is someone that we're keeping an eye on that is a part of our inner circle and they're traveling, what do we ask that they do? When you arrive, text me, call me, do whatever. No contact, from what we understand, from the club to the league about them not coming. Just basically like, nah. That is probably one of the larger issues in this. If you're not coming and if you want to be that way about it and you don't want to sow the seed of doubt about injuries and load maintenance, the week leading into All-Star, say something. Communication is always better anyway. Instead of not communicating, having an event happen, and it being bigger than it probably should have been in the grand scheme of things. Literally, communication goes a long way. I think that we all in all of our work and all of our days and all of our conversations, all the family, all that kind of stuff, just tell me how you're doing. Tell me what you're up to. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me if you're running late. You're going to be on time. What's going on? I know that everybody in my universe knows I'm going to be 10 minutes late to anything. No matter what time I tell you, I'm always going to be 10 minutes late. I'll be 10 minutes late to my own funeral. But I'm still communicating if I have to be someplace. I'm still communicating that, hey, I'm on my way. Hey, I had car problems. I can't make it. Hey, I've got an injury to my hamstring. I don't know if I can play. All it takes is the communication. We all may not agree about the Major League All-Star game as an entity and as an idea, because we've improved it here. We've all improved it. You know it, and it's on the we proved it back-to-back years actually. But all you got to do is tell me how you're doing. That's it. That's it. Just tell me how you're doing. And then we can work around it. Tell me how you're doing. We'll find a solution. Instead of not showing up and getting people mad and it's a league function. Just pick up the phone, shoot me a text, go into the WhatsApp group, tell me, let me know what's going on. Leading into the game, before the All-Star break, Lionel and Jordy, they're kind of putting in a lot of minutes, da-da-da-da. Next conversation should be, okay, if they can't play, then we'd love it if they would show up in Austin and just be there as a part of the experience because fans want to see them. Okay, we can do something there. Just promise me they won't play. Okay, fine. And you come up with 2 late replacements and you're not shorthanded going up against Liga MX. All it takes is a little communication. A little communication goes a long way. And it's stuff like what happened in Austin with MLS All-Star. That is a part and parcel to what Abby was saying in the Twitch pitch. That the league basically will do whatever just to keep Messi and friends happy. Right up to a point. All-Star was different. And you end up with suspensions, you end up with mad owners. And you want to know why? Because you didn't communicate. Look, just talk to me. That's all I want. Just talk to me and tell me what's going on in your life. Hey, Jorge, what's going on? Well, it's been kind of a rough day. Well, why? What's going on? And then you explain it. It's been a long day. It's been a long couple of days. So, hey, man, what's going on? So then you just lay it all out there. A little communication goes a long way. And then you can sit there and lay it all out and go, well, yeah, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Communication, understanding, solution, additive solutions, conversation, all of that stuff. Not that hard. Like I said, that's just me. This weekend, 2 months from decision day. So keep an eye on that. The sprint that is what's going on in Major League Soccer. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Actually, tell you what, let me go through all the rest of the promos before we get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, all the other reports, who's moving, who's not moving, who's doing what, where, and when. Let's do that. All right. You know what's going on with our friends at Fanati's, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can get the jersey at Olive in York, and you can get our first ever SDH jersey. Could never do it without our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente, great friend and sponsor for all of us here, as evidenced by what's over my left shoulder and around me every single day. Get the jersey. Personalization. It's a navy jersey. You can either get it personalized in white or in the double blue, navy blue, Columbia blue, whatever. Check with Alex and Abby and find out which one's best for you. Once again, that goes to help out our Soccer for Good campaign. Beyond Goals Mentoring on one sleeve, Soccer for Good on the other sleeve. Olive in York for your first ever SDH jersey. Nice little 80s look with the floppy collar and everything. Grady Baby Co. You can get your Atlanta, Soccer's Just Better in Atlanta gear. And you can get that red, black, sweatshirt, t-shirt, gold embossed lettering. Soccer's Just Better in Atlanta. If you get the sweatshirt, the SDH Network logo is on one cuff. On the other cuff, the Grady Baby logo. And what happens there is that the proceeds from that go to Soccer for Good, helping out middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta public school system. Very, very cool stuff there. So you can go to soccerdownhere.net. You can get the SDH Network gear. You get that done, and you end up with the hats and the t-shirts and the koozies and the stickers and all those kinds of things. Jason has also taken the Ruckus logo from years past and the Attack logo from years past. He has retrified them, and they're out there on the website as well. You can get all the basic gear and things like that. We're still trying to figure out if there's a way to do the retro gear, and you can do that at soccerdownhere.net. Also on the board, let me see, what have I forgotten? The Chant app, being a Fanatico. What do you do for $10 a year? For $10 a year, what you can do is you can become a Fanatico. And by going onto the Chant app, which shows up a lot better here than it does in the studio because of the lack of glare, you go to the Chant app and you get to build things up there on Chant. It's soccer at group.chant.fan. Let me see if I can do this. So as the Chant app is loading, let me see if I can type at the same time. And I'll see if, because of the Wi-Fi here in the building, it might be a little goofier than normal. Group.chant.fan, /soccer down here. That's still on chant, isn't it? All right, so hang on. Soccer down here, spell here, /join. All right, so there you go. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. No, right there, John, that one. There you go. I actually spelled it right. Okay, so Chant is misbehaving right now this morning. So go to the Chant app, and you can become a Fanatico for $10 a year. You get a lot of great discounts from a lot of cool places. And what you can do is a lot of breweries. There is a resort in Costa Rica that you can get a discount with a code. And you can go to Tires Plus, one location, get you a couple of different discounts. You can go to catering in Sugar Hill, and you can get a discount there with your first order with them. And thank you. Yeah, Chant sometimes loads funny. Yeah, or in my case, it just ain't loading. So, oh, great. So I was going to say, my phone locked up. So it's been a fun morning there. So group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. $10 makes you an SDH Fanatico. What do you do for $10 a year? You can help us out with our Soccer for Good campaign by doing all of the Soccer for Good that we have, being a Fanatico at SDH. Okay. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and all the things, because we got stuff to talk about from other leagues. If you have not yet, subscribe to the Morning Espresso. You can get the Morning Espresso a bunch of different ways. You can get it in newsletter form in an email. Thanks to our friends at Oglethorpe University for helping us out with that. You can also get your stuff by I'm completely blanking out. You can get it by Jason's Twitter, the SDH Twitter, and all of the social media for SDH. You can get the Morning Espresso. It's Jason's look, 18 to 20 minutes, usually in the podcast form, in the audio form, or you can get it in the newsletter form. And it's his look at the early morning. And so the way that it's kind of evolved is Jason has topics that he looks at that he has in Morning Espresso. That leads you in here to SDH AM with all of the guests. Then that leads you into the coverage with Training Ground Dispatch and all the other things that we have during the day, live events, programs, all those kinds of things. Speaking of which, remember Sunday night at the Fraction, Crown Legacy and Atlanta United 2. Keep an eye on that one on the network. You can listen to it at Soccer Down Here. Go to the Listen tab, and you'll see when something's going on either SDH 1 or 2, you'll have a red light flashing. Or you can go to our Mixler channel at soccerdownhere.mixler.com, and you can listen to Crown Legacy, big night for Atlanta United and for the Twos as they try and tackle what's going on, and they're trying to chase into the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference. They have an opportunity to get full points against Crown Legacy, who have been kind of hiccuping recently. So it's an opportunity for the Twos to get full points and get closer and closer and closer. Right now, 6 points out of the last playoff spot, so 2 wins. But they've got to win more because they have the least number of wins in that group. So keep an eye out for the Twos, and we will do the same. So once again, remember, it is soccerdownhere.mixler.com or soccerdownhere.net. Listen to the Twos, or better yet, come to Kennesaw on the weekend and on Sunday night, and you can catch up with me and Jason and Maddie and everybody that's going to be there calling the matchup for Atlanta United 2 hosting Crown Legacy. So those are all the things that are going on in our universe at the moment. But once again, remember, you got Training Ground Dispatches with Maddie and Jason, and you've also got me in Arkansas on Saturday. So it's going to be kind of wild. Thursday and Friday in studio. Friday, go to a high school football game, call the high school football game, drive close to Chattanooga, go to Chattanooga, fly out of Chattanooga, lay over at Hartsfield, go to Northwest Arkansas, go cover the stuff with the Marshall Island Soccer Federation, leave first thing Sunday morning, go from there, Northwest Arkansas, down to Atlanta, lay over, up to Chattanooga, get in the car, go to Kennesaw. Now, that being it there at the end was the part I was focused on. $600 less to fly out of Chattanooga to go to Northwest Arkansas than it would have otherwise. So fly CHA, we like them. So we'll see if that is something that is a normal occurrence for us. Okay. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. We'll let you know what's going on there today. And it's a bunch of different things across a bunch of different tournaments and levels and stuff. So, and also the class of 26, we'll get into this in a second. The veteran builder lists are narrowed down. Timbers have dealt Santi Moreno to Fluminense, so that actually has happened as well. And we'll get you into all of the player movement, what to watch from Ben Jacobs, Tom Bogert, et cetera, before we go. We'll after the top of the hour. So soccer on TV. And today, Open Cup. Remember, you're getting Open Cup and you're getting the names and all the teams compressed into trying to figure out who wins the all-in tournament here. BN has Copa Libertadores. If you've missed it, Howard Hamilton, our buddy from Soccer Metrics, has the new episode of the Soccer Metrics Copa Libertadores show. That is up on the network, and you can go and listen to that with all these previews. Cerro Porteño Estudiantes is at 6. Flamengo and Internacional. That's on BN and BN. CBS Sports Network has the UEFA Super Cup, PSG and Tottenham. That's at 3. Quarterfinals in the Open Cup at 7 between Philadelphia Union and Red Bulls. 2 is also simulcasting UEFA Super Cup. League One on the Plus at 7 o'clock, Knoxville and Richmond. We send all of our love to Susanna Collins, who is in Knoxville, and she has completed a round of chemotherapy. She was diagnosed with breast cancer and has been tackling it, and so we send our love her way with her ties to the One Knox soccer program up there in Knoxville. That's where she currently is. Fox Soccer Plus has the continuing coverage of the CONCACAF Central American Cup. Our friends at Alianza and Managua. That's at 10 o'clock tonight. English League Cup. Birmingham City and Sheffield United is at 3. That is on Golazo Network. Paramount Plus, Eagles. It's English, John. Paramount Plus has the English League Cup 2:45 and 3. Choice is yours. Huddersfield Town, Leicester City, and Birmingham and Sheffield. Super Cup on Paramount Plus, and is the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal. Women's action, one match tonight on the Plus, and that is Ottawa and Toronto. That one is at 7 o'clock on the Plus. And so also we mentioned before we get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, also the class of 26, veteran builder lists have been narrowed down. Veteran ballot semifinalists. So here's how it is. Semifinalists, 16 men, 9 women. Builder ballot has 10 referees. Next step in the veteran election will be for the screening committee to narrow the field to 10 finalists. Builders screening committee gets narrowed down to 4. Players ballot, which includes Heather O'Reilly, Tobin Heath, and Sam Mewis, is in the screening process. So the veterans ballot has to go from 25 to 10. Here's your 25. Beckham, Greg Berhalter, Chico Borja, Sean Bowers, Lori Chalupny, Brian Ching, Jimmy Conrad, Kevin Crow, Lori Fair, Francis Farberoff, Kevin Hartman, Frankie Haydick, Lori Henry, Dominic Kinnear, Karina LeBlanc, Clint Mathis, Shep Messing, Heather Mitz, Victor Noguera, underrated, indoor legend. I would go Victor Noguera as one of mine if I had a ballot. Tiffany Roberts, Tony Sane, Lindsay Tarpley, Tattoo, same reason. Allie Wagner and Kat Reddick Hill. So that 25 has to be narrowed to 10. Builder ballot semifinalists, and this 10 has to go to 4. Gino DiPolito, Mark Geiger, I heard that. Brian Hall, Sandra Hunt, Vince Mauro, Harry Rogers, Ricardo Salazar, Kerry Seitz, Kevin Stott, and Terry Vaughn. I imagine Terry Vaughn will be getting a lot of votes, as he should. So 25 down to 10 with the veterans ballot semis. Builder ballot semis from 10 to 4. And so the players ballot is in the screening process, and there probably will be like 9 gazillion names on it, including those 3 that we talked about, Heather O'Reilly, Tobin Heath, and Sam Mewis. So looking at the gossip, the rumor, and the innuendo, let's check on the Twitters through the individuals that we kind of have with our prism and follow on a daily basis, who are a part of everything. So let's start with our buddy Ben Jacobs and start you overseas, and we'll work back this way with Tom Bogert and all the other sourcing and all the things that we that get into on a daily basis. Liverpool close to a full agreement for Parma defender Giovanni Leone. Deal could be finalized in the next 24 hours. Ben Jacobs and Alex Crook working on that one. Understand the fees discussed around £30 million, and all of these numbers will be in pounds unless I tell you otherwise. Potentially even slightly under. So Spurs confirmed Christian Romero as their new captain following the departure of Young Min Son. He's going to stay at Spurs despite Atletico de Madrid scoring a move earlier in the window. Josh Duffus has joined Saint Etienne from Brighton on a 4-year deal, 20-year striker, turned down options within City Football Group. Strasbourg, Norwich, Swansea, Preston North End. Leeds, and this one was one of the surprises of the morning. Leeds reach an agreement in principle to sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin as a free, according to David Ornstein. It's after Atalanta moved ahead in the race to sign Fulham's Rodrigo Muniz. Calvert-Lewin turned down a move to Sunderland prior to agreeing to terms with Leeds. I would imagine that DCL's that Leeds have a better chance of staying up than Sunderland. Let's see. Jacob Ramsey close to joining Newcastle after talks accelerated on Tuesday. Fee of around $40 million, almost guaranteed, or almost agreed. If all goes to plan, deal finalized between the clubs before the week is out. Villa is also back in talks with Marco Asensio, with PSG looking to sell. Remember what Marco Asensio did with West Ham. Or with Villa, sorry. So Villa with Marco Asensio, Aston Villa, that was one of the steals of the season, basically, with Marco Asensio. And so it was Pars and his Villa and Marco Asensio. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. Definitely Pars will be happy about that if they lock in Marco Asensio. Bournemouth in advanced talks to sign Bayer Leverkusen forward Amin Adli. Leverkusen is seeking $26 million, and an agreement is oddly viewed as a replacement for Brentford target Dango Ouattara, which could in turn allow Johan Vissa to go to Newcastle. So you see how all of these dots are connected. So if Vissa goes to Newcastle, Brentford could get Ouattara from Bournemouth probably, and then Oddly goes from Leverkusen to Bournemouth. So you see that's the chain that's attached to the Johan Vissa deal. Bournemouth also confirming that defender Bafode Diakite has joined from Lille, 35 plus 5, and that's in euro. Second highest purchase in the club's history behind Evan Nilsson. Manchester United are not in for Gianluigi Donnarumma, despite links. Donnarumma let everybody have it in the Premier League on social media. And so, yeah, he was not happy about his current state of affairs, and so he let everybody know about it, and he's like, okay, Premier League, you're going to feel my wrath. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but yeah, Donnarumma, wherever he lands, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder about the Premier League going forward. Ornstein, AS Roma in talks with Villa over Leon Bailey. No formal bid yet. Pursuit is firm and emerging as the strongest suitor. Also interest from clubs in Saudi and Turkey, including Besiktas, and David Ornstein and Jacob Tanswell were the two compared to that one. We mentioned Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Southampton rejected West Ham's Mateus Fernandes. West Ham's offer was worth up to 30, including add-ons, rejected immediately without counter. Southampton views Fernandes in the 50 to 60 million pound range. No more talks unless the clubs get closer. Liverpool's in talks with Palace over Mark Gahey. No bid yet. Liverpool's stepping up efforts. Player terms also need agreeing to. The defender wants game time assurances before the World Cup. Okay. So he wants game time assurances at Liverpool if he goes to join him. Sorry, hydration. Last time I checked, you had to kind of prove yourself in practice. Nothing like that was guaranteed. You got to prove yourself in practice and then line yourself up. If no move now, he'll leave Crystal Palace for free in 26, and that might be another reason why they might be trying to boogie to get something done involving Gahey and Liverpool. Player assurances in the new club, I don't know if those have always gone over well. I don't know if they've gone over well. So we'll see what happens. From Tom Bogert, we mentioned, okay, so this is an Elche update on Redondo during the show this morning. Elche is finalizing the deal. Fee of around 2.5 and a 50% sell-on. That's faith. 2.5 million, 50% sell-on. Cesar Luis Merlo first to report it. Redondo, 22, 60 appearances for Miami, so he's off to Spain apparently. And then we mentioned POV coming in as Redondo goes out. Redondo redundant, POV in, the back line needs help. That's what you're staring at between now and I think 8 days from now, if I remember correctly, about the window. So POV in, Calendar probably out. Redondo out. And then the capologists and all the money guys try to figure out how all this fits. So Piovi, obviously, the age of 30, previously with Ross and Klub. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at with those particular transactions. Let me go to, let me take the tour of the newspapers before we get out of here, and we can see what we're missing, if there is anything that we are missing, as a matter of fact. So we can check rumors and such and find out what is going on around the planet. And story-wise, let's see if there are any stories that we're going to be chasing. But also remember, early next week, we're going to go back into, on Deep Dive Day, we are going to get more involved and into the whole multi-club operating levels and John Texter and Botafogo and all that. So Tuesday, probably in hour number 2. Because if Casey White joins us in hour number 1, we push it to hour number 2, and we'll start our multi-club operating model 101 through the Texter of John Texter and what he's been doing, how he is perceived in Brazil. We do have some folks that are going to come on with us and explain multi-club operations and how they work and how they ditch loopholes and all those kinds of things. So keep an eye on all of that stuff as we go. So I'm trying to see if, into the Premier League. So this was something that came through. Matt Hughes over at The Guardian. Premier League is going to test ref cams on the first weekend with a view to a permanent rollout. You remember we got to see those in the Club World Cup. So the Premier League is going to test ref cams in selected matches during the opening round of fixtures this weekend with a view to making the new technology a permanent feature. Guardian has learned the clubs have given their approval for the trial, with Sky Sports and TNT also supporting the innovation. And the chair of the refereeing committee at the Club World Cup, Pierluigi Collina, said the experiment had, quote, gone beyond expectations. Following a post-tournament review, IFAB gave its approval for the ref cam trial to be extended to domestic competitions last month. The Premier League subsequently trialed the new equipment in the final 2 matches of the preseason summer series in Atlanta with Bournemouth and West Ham and Manchester United and Everton. Premier League and the broadcasters embrace the new technology because it enriches, they believe, the viewer TV experience, giving them a unique view of the action. Ref cams don't offer live action footage. They can be used to provide near-instant replays of match incidents from a different angle. PGMOL, the British version of Professional Game Match Officials Limited, supportive on the grounds that ref cams give an extra insight into the difficulty of refereeing top-flight matches, highlighting the fact that officials sometimes have a limited view of crucial incidents despite their best efforts. Cameras on the right ear, connected to a microphone and a transmitter, sending video to broadcasters, 2 wires, one for the camera, one for the microphone, put on the back of the referee's shirt, transmitter in the shorts pocket. Premier League, of course, declined comment. The ref cam footage shown on big screens, and we get to see all that kind of stuff. So ref cam is being tested in the Premier League this weekend with an eye as to what's going on. Donnarumma, after all the discussions, he's like, he might be headed to Manchester City. So they might be kicking the tires on him at Manchester City going forward. So Donnarumma, if Ederson goes, they're going to need a number 1. And it might end up being Gianluigi Donnarumma. All right, so once again, let me tour the papers and find out if there's anything that I've missed. And we will discuss all of that once again tomorrow. Stack. It is Matt Pollard from Burgundy Wave. He's going to give us our Oppo research on Colorado Rapids as they have gotten out of DMs. They no longer have DMs at Colorado. Then Marty Jellamy, the head coach of the Unified team, 9:30. Hour number 2, the Power Hour, Nino and Nico. Nino Torres from Gold TV will tour the planet. He has topics on his mind. I don't know what they are. We'll find out together. Nico Moreno, Pacific perspective on everything. We'll lay everything out, getting you ready for the weekend. Find out about Seattle and their big win, and move you forward in the Western Conference and see what he has to say about the matchups on the weekend in and of itself. So that is what's going on Thursday. Friday, once again, Marcelo Balboa scheduled at 10 o'clock, and he'll be kind of like the anchor of our preview coverage of everything going on Major League Soccer. Hopefully our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can join us. I know it's school's getting started. We might have better opportunities to catch up with Parky and Greg now, and then we'll find out what's going on 9:05 and 10:30 as we get you ready for the weekend. So Manchester United, according to Sam Wallace at The Telegraph, Carlos Baleba valued at more than £100 million by Brighton. £100 million. Don't know if you saw this yesterday, but it was the Gummy Bear Cup. And Gummy Bear Cup had the matchup between Wrexham and Hull City as a part of what happened yesterday. And you know how we feel about Gummy Bear Cup. But yesterday, it was one of those matches where you sit there and you're like, man, things get completely and totally sideways. Hull at the Stoke K Ross, 3-1-90 plus 2. Storming back, Wrexham comes to tie it at 3 at the end of regulation. They go straight to penalties. Wrexham wins in PKs. So that's the kind of magic of the cup that you get to see. But this was Gummy Bear Cup action, more Gummy Bear Cup action today, as you saw. And so it'll be interesting to see if any of the matches, we had Northampton Town and Southampton. That was also, I think, yesterday. Irony, that kind of a thing. So that was that was intriguing as well. So where was I going? See, I'm just kind of losing my brain here. So Tuesday gossip. I don't want Tuesday gossip. I want today's gossip. So here's what we might have missed. So PSG apparently so Manchester City may have held talks with Donnarumma. Personal terms not expected to be an issue. Galatasaray made an approach to Ederson at Manchester City, which would clear the way for Donnarumma. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Southampton have rejected the West Ham opening offer. We talked about that. Real Madrid continuing to monitor the progress of Crystal Palace. 21-year-old England midfielder Adam Wharton, 4-letter paper. Villa, we mentioned Marco Asensio. Liverpool have no intention of selling France defender Ibrahima Konate, 26, in this transfer window, despite working on moves for 2 center backs. 4-letter paper. And we mentioned Oddly. Bayer Leverkusen latest to express an interest in Brighton's Facundo Buonanotte. Seagulls willing to sell for around £39 million. Dortmund have walked away from a deal for Fabio Silva after Wolves increased their asking price. Chelsea's Christopher Nkunku keen on a move to Bayern Munich with a deal for the 27-year-old still possible. That is from Florian Plettenberg. We are also keeping an eye on the Sheffield Wednesday situation, and that'll be a part of, obviously, what we're talking about with John Texter and how that continues to grow and evolve. It appears that he has Dr. Keith Harris from Sportsbank working independently from Sportsbank to try and purchase Sheffield Wednesday from Defon Chansiri. Fair market value, they're thinking it's about 40. The offer that Chansiri wants is closer to 100. I don't think that Chansiri is going to get close to 100. But apparently also it is close where you have Harris and Texter looking for folks to help out. So I don't know if that should speak volumes or not. Should Dr. Harris and John Texter be looking for financing for something that should only cost somewhere between 40 and 100 million pounds? I don't know. Sheffield Wednesday, Rob Staten from the BBC. Not a lack of credible buyers. The problem is a credible seller. That comes from James Silverwood at the club's Supporters Trust. Nick Masheter from the BBC reviewed Sunday's protest at Leicester. Yeah, by the way, for those of you that may not know, I legitimately thought that it was a stay-away protest for the first 5 minutes in the matchup this past weekend at Leicester to start their season. They had 6 academy players on the bench. And apparently it was because gates had been shut that they were having access. But when they came into the King Power in the 5th minute, it was a standing ovation from the Leicester fans, which I thought was really cool. So what I thought was something of a programmed protest was not. So it looked great, but apparently it was not a programmed protest. And so national media covered the event. Further protests arranged for Saturday's first home game against Stoke. Supporters have boycotted the new home and away kit, and a message is being sent by the trust to not buy another merchandise or food at the ground. EFL seemed to be applying pressure. Reports this week that a new football regulator could be fast-tracked with the power to strip owners of their rights to run clubs and sanction takeovers at a price of their choice. Sheffield Wednesday and Morecambe are being name-checked within those reports. So you're looking at another, you're looking at another point deduction to start things off, and how things are going to be with the home opener. Looking at all of that. Wednesday contract walkout. Max Lowe is making a major decision there. So once again, it's a mess. And it's not really a surprise that it's a mess still, but it's a mess. The Athletic had a piece come out 2 days ago about Sheffield Wednesday. The protest, according to the trust, protest went absolutely as we wanted, but they will not have Barry Bannon in the lineup, their team captain, because he got a red card in the match against Leicester. And so you're staring at that for Sheffield Wednesday going forward next week. Once again, remember, tomorrow is stacked. It's going to be a great day for guests, a great day finding stuff out. Matt Pollard, Marty Jellamy, Nino Torres, Nico Moreno. That's Thursday. Friday, it is Marcelo Balboa, getting you ready for the weekend, all the things. Hopefully our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can join us as well. Thanks to Tyler as well for joining us in hour number 1. And we will rock and roll from there. As always, thanks to all of you for being a part of our universe every single day. And we'll be back at it again in a little less than 22. Since it is the end of the show for yet another day, thanks to everybody here at Topsail, and thanks to our friends at the Trailer Bar for giving me the lid that I'm supposed to be wearing here on the show, as ordered by the boss, just to kind of show things off that I actually do wear hats. You will not be seeing a water heater tomorrow. We'll be back in studio, and we'll be rocking and rolling from there for Thursday and Friday. So play it safe, everybody. Mucha plats, y'all. Since it is the end of the show, it means we get to do this. Back at it from the studio tomorrow. Be well.